in telecommunications tariffs to global inflation and rising operational costs. The House of Representatives Committee on Navy calls for increased funding for the Nigerian Navy. On foreign scene, President Donald Trump signs executive orders on decrees aimed at cracking down on immigration in the United States. Details of these and more we come to shortly. Do stay with us. And now the news in full. The Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Tijani Bosun, attributed the recent 50% increase in telecommunications tariff to global inflation and rising operational costs. Just yesterday, the stakeholders meeting in the communication sector approved a 50% tariff increment on calls and data. Correspondent Kulujo reports that the minister, while appearing before the Joint Committee on Communication, added that the decision aligns with broader economic patterns, where tariffs can lead to higher consumer prices due to the added cost on imported goods. Speaking to journalists moments after defending his ministry's budget of 12 billion naira for 2025, Bosun stated that 50% adjustment aligns with broader economic trends. According to the minister, historically, tariffs act as a sales tax, causing a one-off price increase rather than sustained inflation.
Well, man, I think the hike is also based on inflation globally. This is a sector that has not increased price for a long time. In fact, what government has been doing is managing the situation. The companies have been crying out for a long time that they're struggling. The cost of diesel, you can imagine how much they bought diesel last year and how much it's going for this year. And this is not a problem that is unique to Nigeria. But what we've done with them is saying that telecommunication services are now extremely important to our people. So it's not something you can just increase price haphazardly. But also, how do we support them to ensure that these companies continue to stay sustainable? This is a sector that employs about 15,000 people directly, the employees of these MNOs.
He further explained that the federal government of Nigeria is planning to invest 6 billion naira to deploy 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable, expanding the country's capacity from 35,000 kilometers to 125,000 kilometers.
We've worked hard internally as professionals and political appointees, also with the support of the committee chairs, to secure the commitment of the World Bank, AFDB, and a number of other DFIs to help us invest in a $2 billion project that will lay 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables across this country.
Meanwhile, Nigerians have expressed their displeasure about the recent 50% increase in the tariff of telecommunication in the country. It was shocking to many Nigerians when the news filtered to the public space, and they wondered why the unending increases in virtually all utility services in the country, more so when the people are facing economic hardship. In lieu of the prevailing harsh economic situation of the country, the people charged the government to look for a way to give support to cushion the economic situation by subsidizing some of the important essential services pending when the economy improves. And now we have a business and financial analyst, Mr. Tola Akimotimi, who joins us to discuss on the recent tariff hike on telecommunication in Nigeria. Thank you so much for being a part of the news at this time.
Thank you so much.
All right, so moving straight to the discussion for today, what are your thoughts on NCC approving 50% tariff hike for network operators?
I think if you look critically to all the issues in the macro economy, there is some element of justification for the Commission to really get us to that level. From what we understood, the mobile network operators were actually agitating for over 100% tariff increase or more. And over the last few weeks, few months, the NCC, the minister, and every other stakeholder had actually discussed as to the desirability or otherwise of this humongous tariff increase or request by the telcos. So for NCC to have come through some negotiations to that 50% cap, I think is reasonable, because we need to appreciate the fact that all businesses work within the context of developments within the micro and macroeconomic space. And like NCC has said, the tariff had not been adjusted for over 10 years. The last adjustment was about 2013. Now we are talking of inflation at about 34.80%. We are talking about forex market volatility, where 2013 possibly the naira was exchanging at about 200, 300 naira per dollar. We are talking of about 1,560 or thereabout today for the dollar for the naira to a dollar. So when we're actually looking at all the issues within the context of the micro and macro economy, we should be able to appreciate that NCC has really done reasonably well by getting us to this level.
All right, so from your analysis, do you think this decision would impact Nigerians negatively?
You said?
All right, I said from your analysis, do you think that this decision would impact Nigerians negatively?
In the immediate term, Nigerians may naturally complain so much. But I think the palliative to that effect will be for us to minimize our excessive, expenses on calls and data usage, to the extent that if the telcos are properly consolidated, they can actually build their infrastructure, strengthen their systems, and help in the realization of the $1 trillion economy the federal government or Nigerians are targeting by the year 2030. It is like a surgical operation. Every patient will naturally feel pain when the process is going on. But ultimately, the end result will naturally give the patient cause for laughter, relief, and so many other things. So I feel very strongly that the NCC, the federal government, the telecoms, should be given some element of the doubt to the extent that all of them will work together and actually get it to where they needed to be. In terms of quality of service, they need, like you have mentioned, a lot of investment in fiber optic infrastructure and other critical infrastructure. We are talking of very poor calls. I think the time for us to really make a strong case for it is now. When the tariff is adjusted, subscribers can actually look up to better services, improve contributions of the telecom sector to the economy. You know that as we talked about last year or 2023, the contributions of the ICT to the GDP was hovering around over 20 something, about 24% of the GDP or 18%. So I strongly feel that if they are given the opportunity to really work on their structures, systems, the contributions of the sector will be far, far better, and that will be to the advantage and benefits of millions of Nigerians in the long run.
All right, thank you so much for being a part of the news. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, yeah.
Yes, and that was Mr. Tola Akinmotumi, who is a business and a financial analyst. And now we'll move on to the rest of the stories. The House of Representatives Committee on Navy has called for increased funding for the Nigerian Navy to strengthen its capacity to secure the nation's waterways, opposing the establishment of a separate Coast Guard. The committee chairman, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, made this recommendation during the 2025 budget defense session in Abuja. He criticized the lack of sufficient funding for the Navy and opposed the creation of a new agency, stating that it would be unwise to do so when the Navy is underfunded. Gagdi noted that the Navy is working hard despite funding constraints and dismissed calls for a Coast Guard, pointing out that the bill proposing its establishment had previously been rejected by his committee after consultation with stakeholders like NIMASA and NPA.
We have a Navy that is suffocated of funding. We have a Navy that is doing well, and we want additional funding for the Nigerian Navy. As National Assembly, it will be irrational for us to consider passage of another sister agency when the existing agency is not being adequately funded. We must work together to ensure that we've educated the Nigerian people, and we must work together to ensure that we protect the Nigerian Navy on the floor of the House of Representatives.
Based on that, we articulated a total budget estimate, that's capital budget estimate of about 360 million to be able to capture that. But the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning pegged our envelope to 88 billion 373 million 538,798 naira. So we had to work with this.
Still to speak on the recent tariff hike on telecommunications, we have Chief Adeolu Okubanjo, the National President of the National Association of Telecom Subscribers, NATCOM. Thank you so much for being the part of the news at this time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you.
All right, so the Minister of Information, Tijani Basuun, attributed the recent 50% increase in telecommunications tariff to global inflation and rising operational costs. Do you think that this justifies approval for the increase?
I would say that a minor increase, yes, in view of what you can call operational reasons. For instance, diesel costs, dollarization, and the telcos are saying that their equipment are, the radio equipment they put on their masts are dollar denominated. That is, it's they buy it in dollars. But hello?
Yes, we have you. You could go on.
Hello?
Yes, Chief, we
Hello?
still have you. You could go on with your contribution.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you.
Yes. I don't know if you are listening in.
All right, hopefully we'll get back to Chief Adeoluwa to carry the rest. All right, in case we still have Chief there, is your association still going ahead to sue, considering a justification based on all-round economic hardship and the harsh market conditions?
I hear you. You have continued. We are hearing you.
Now let's quickly take a break, and when we return, the news continues. Just stay with us. Well, glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect to us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. The family of Mrs. Christy Adebamiwa Ni Olamiti beat their patron goodbye in a lovely ceremony. Our correspondent Shegun Falomo, who is at the event, sent on this report.
It was indeed a celebration of life when families, friends and well-wishers gather to bid their mother, sister and grandmother, Mrs. Christy Oluwakaiko Adebamiwa Ne Olamiti, farewell at the St. Anne's Church, Molete, Ibadan, Oyo State. In his sermon at funeral service, Most Reverend Joseph Akinfenwa, Bishop of Ibadan Diocese, admonished the congregation to embrace virtues and lifestyles found worthy in the face of God. Madam Adebamiwa was born into the family of late Pa Akinseye Olamiti and Mrs. Juliana Oluwawemi Olamiti at Idori in Ondo State. During her lifetime, she was an educationist, disciplinarian, a rallying figure for her family, and served the Creator to her last breath. She married the love of her life, late Venerable Joshua Adebamiwa, and their union was blessed with many children. She died on the 18th of October 2024 at the age of 83 years and was buried on the 17th of January 2025. She is survived by brothers, sisters, children, and grandchildren.
Who desires to make heaven, who is here today, who wants to escape from hell and become a candidate of heaven. The devil has nothing good to offer you. If you collect riches from the devil, it will end one day. Collect anything from the devil, he will collect double or triple back from you. The devil has nothing to offer you. His work is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So if you think you are enjoying anything from the devil today, listen to the gospel truth. The devil is just feeding you like a Christmas chicken. And when it is time, he will pick that chicken, slaughter it, and consume it.
She went in an old age, but looking back on what she has done for me personally, as a brother, I've missed her sorely.
And I'll move over to the foreign desk for more news.
This is news from the international scene. From behind his desk in the Oval Office, President Donald Trump signed a flurry of executive orders and decrees aimed at cracking down on immigration. From one order tackling the definition of birthright citizenship to another declaring illegal immigration at the border a national emergency, Trump swiftly made moves on his promises to tighten the U.S.-Mexico border. But some of his plans, particularly around changing the definition of birthright citizenship, are likely to face significant hurdles. He is already facing legal challenges from immigration advocacy groups, which have reacted furiously to his announcements. One organization said his plans do not uphold American values, and another said Trump's administration was actively trying to destroy our lives. In his inaugural earlier in the day, Trump vowed that all illegal entry will be altered and that millions of criminal aliens will be deported. He also signed an order declaring Mexican drug cartel terrorist organizations higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and evasions, he explained. At another event at Washington's Capital One Arena, Trump formally revoked nearly 80 executive actions of his predecessor Joe Biden. He had previously vowed to scrap Biden's policies within 5 minutes.